Hey! This video is going to be to address one of the most frequently asked questions that I get, which is, hey Kat, I'd really like to travel. I'm stuck in the winter. I'm stuck in this job that I really don't like. I'm looking for some adventure in my life, but I am on a budget. I don't know what to do. Do you have any suggestions for me? And I do, and I'd love to share them with you in this video. We'll address some strategies for how to travel with very little money and hopefully offer some different perspectives for you to take into consideration for your next trip. Firstly, I'd like to talk about why I think traveling is so valuable. And one of the first things is new perspectives, when you're able to see how others live in different cultures, and that can only benefit you. Secondly, I think that it's a great way to get away from an unfavorable climate, like the snowy north, for example. I also think that coming to a new place, you have a fresh view on things, and it is inherently beautiful to see things for the first time. Having that fresh view, practicing seeing beauty all around you every day is something that everybody should get to experience. When you're able to interact from people with all backgrounds, it can be really entertaining for one and educating for another. In terms of speaking with people who have English second language, or you're trying to speak in their language, I just have found so many fun experiences through this interaction. You learn about yourself in challenging situations. There's always going to be challenging situations in life, but somehow having it when you're traveling, it becomes an adventure in many ways, and that energy that goes along with it helps you get through the situations, but you definitely learn something nonetheless. You're able to get out of your comfort zone, which is really stimulating for your mind, for your body, for your spirit. It's just invigorating to get to a new place. And lastly, I think it's a great opportunity to practice minimal living and having non-attachment in general, and just getting more comfortable with going with the flow, because things are not gonna go how you plan in life, and definitely in travel you'll just see it magnified. The first step in planning for any kind of travel is in looking at your expenses right now. What are you spending money currently on that you can potentially cut out? Things like going out for drinks and dinner, going out, seeing a movie, any kind of entertainment like that. Having a car maybe that you have to upkeep instead of just taking public transit. Maybe you're spending more money than you'd like to on clothes. I mean, how many clothes do you really need? You can just wear the same thing over again and mix and match, get creative, go to used clothing stores. You might be spending more money than you want to on a cable bill, on a cell phone bill. I know that I haven't had a cell phone bill for at least like 3 years. There are so many apps you can get now to just put on your phone and use it as a texting device, using like Text Plus or Magic Jack or things like this. You can just use it in Wi-Fi zones, so you're only communicating by email and messaging of that sort, and FaceTime and Skype. So there are all these alternatives if you want to get creative to save money. Before your trip, there's some preparation that you can do in terms of learning about how to save as much money as you can while on the road, and then how to make as much money as you can right now. So something you can do, of course, is go through your closet and just sell everything that you don't need anymore. Go on Craigslist, Kijiji, have a garage sale. Just do whatever you can to get rid of, trim that extra fat that you just don't need in your life anymore, and make some cash while you're at it. It might be an option too to list your place online in terms of Airbnb or websites like this, where you're renting your place while you're gone, so you're actually making income while you're on the road. Another great option is seasonal work, and this operates where you're working for several months at a time, something like 3 to 6 months, and working really hard, and then you're able to make a boatload of cash, be on your way, and go travel and do whatever you wish. I have friends who have done this through working on boats, who've done it with fruit picking, tree planting up in Canada. I've had friends who've done it just with waitressing and been busting their butt for several months, making a lot of money, doing their job really well with tips or even bartending, things like this, making a bunch of cash and then being able to spend it on their travel vacation. It doesn't hurt to, before you go on a trip, research any kind of scams that are going on in the area in terms of getting extra money from tourists or ripping tourists off. And I don't like to highlight this side of travel, of course, but it's just good to be informed. Remember to take a student card if you have one. Some places advertise that they give discounts for this and some places don't, so always ask in terms of museums, transportations, even staying at hostels. Studying abroad and or staying with a host family while you're on the road can be a really great option, especially if you want to learn language, and in any case you're going to get a very intimate experience with the culture. Booking flights. I wish there was just one magic tip that would work all the time, but I haven't found it yet, so I'm going to give you just a few things that have worked for me when compiled all together. The first thing is being as flexible as possible in terms of dates that you're willing to fly, and also in terms of what you're willing to endure on your trip. Things like really crappy layovers. I know I went to Asia on a $500 ticket, but I had to have a 50-something hour layover in China, and it was in the airport. So I'm willing to sacrifice like 2 days of my life to save a lot of money. Research companies of the locations that you're going to. More private companies like China Air was really good for traveling around Asia. Southwest Airlines is really great when you're in the United States. There's Alaska Airlines that flies from the west coast of the United States to Hawaii. That's pretty cheap. So just research the areas that you're going to be in. I would not recommend traveling during high season. So these are the common holidays, things like Christmas and Thanksgiving, because tickets are going to shoot up in price. I was just in Costa Rica and I was there during rainy season, and the tickets really revealed this because they were much, much cheaper. I was a little bit scared because I thought it might be monsoons all the time, but this really wasn't the case. It was a couple hours of rain, just down for a day, and then that was it. It was just sunny the rest of the time, and it was kind of nice. So that was one of the best kept secrets for that location, and I'm sure this is the case all around the world. So I would just say don't travel during the high seasons. Also, expenses of hostel like accommodations when you're in the place are going to skyrocket in addition to the price of flights. Cheapest tickets are going to be like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday are often much more expensive. Travel carry-on. You don't have to wait as long once you're off the plane, and nowadays they're just charging for everything. So carry-on bags are like an extra $25 that you can save. I've gathered from a number of sources that the best time to book a trip in terms of flight is around 2 months in advance. Use search engines to research discount codes for flights. You can just type in the flight that you want and discount code or coupon code or something like this, and sometimes you might come up with a certain percentage off for the travel. Delete your cookies or search for flights in like an incognito window on the computer, because search engines for airline companies will track your cookies and they'll keep raising the price of the ticket that they know that you're looking for. when you're at the gate and they're checking everybody in, if they happen to have overbooked the flight or something of this nature, always opt to go on a later flight, because it often comes with some kind of voucher or compensation, where I have friends who got flights for free just because they were able to go a few hours later or even the next day. Always be collecting points in terms of credit card purchases and airline miles. Online resources that I would recommend. Couchsurfing has been such a fabulous blessing in my life. I think it is a beautiful tool that we have in terms of connecting people who want to have this giving and receiving exchange, where there's really nothing expected of the couch surfer, and a host will open their home, their extra couch, their extra bed, and allow you to sleep there for a night or two, and maybe you're able to give them a great conversation, a story of your travels, share a meal with them, cook with them. I think it is just so darn cool. I've had people who are just super passionate hosts about their city and really just want to take me around and show me their favorite places, and it's a great way to make new friends and be able to practice trust and loving kindness with strangers who quickly become more than that. House sitting. There are a number of websites out there, Mind My House, house carers, trusted house sitters, all around the same idea of going to take care of somebody's place while they're out of town. Maybe it's for a few weeks, maybe it's for like 6 months. And this often involves pet care, sometimes garden care, watering their plants, or reading, or sometimes maintenance of their place, and sometimes not. Researching any kind of hostel online, and especially using HOSTELWORLD.com, I really enjoy, because they give you like a map view of all the hostels in the destination you want to go to, and so you can pick which one is closest to the activities you want to do in that town. And also they have a system on the side that provides like a scale. You can pick only the hostels that have more than a 70% rating, or less than $10 a night, something like this, or who provide Wi-Fi for sure, all of these categories. So it's really, really great resource. And if you're not staying in hostels, I think you're missing out, because there's something for everybody. It's not, I mean, I've stayed in really dirty, gross ones with no windows for like $6-7 a night, and that's not for everybody. There's also ones that are a little bit more in terms of price, but you're getting that in your room. So like I said, there's something for everybody, all ages. I've had roommates, dorm mates who are in their 80s, and dorm mates who are my age. So it's a fantastic way to meet people. There's often a lot of single travelers, so you're getting a new batch of people all the time coming through, and it's just like such a good potential for a really, really great energy and exchange of stories, and you get to hear the routes that they've done on their travels so far, and maybe you're going the other way and they're recommending things that they've done or not to do. I highly, highly recommend staying in hostels. HELPX or WORKAWAY.com, websites like this are great because they're targeted specifically to travelers who want to have a place to stay while they're on the road and who are willing to provide some work in exchange for that. So some places do want you to have skills beforehand, but some you can learn while on the job. They really range. You can work a hostel for a few months. There are spots for photographers, yoga teachers, website designers. You can work on a boat. There's positions for au pairs, like babysitting, or if somebody, like your host, person wants to learn English as a second language. There's really a range of jobs out there. WWOOFing, worldwide opportunities on organic farms. This is something that I'm still surprised people don't know about because it has been such an integral part of my own travels, and I've gotten a chance to stay in really exotic places for several months at a time and not needed to spend $1 because everything was provided. I had food provided, a place to rest my head, friends to meet, and so there's always entertainment in that. And then I was surrounded by beauty and nature. This is something that would only encourage people who are willing to work hard or do have an interest in farming, because as a farm owner, that's the kind of people that you want to take on board. And I just think it's a really great option if you want to stay in a place for an extended period of time, and it allows you to develop some kind of community there and a chance to ground in the plants and learn about the organic culture. 30 bananas a day. If you're fruitarian or vegan like myself and you want to get the lowdown on the fruit scoop in the area of the place that you're going to, 30 bananas a day is a great tool because you can go on the forums on there and already learn from a number of people who've been to that region and can say, oh yeah, I really recommend this farmer's market. Okay, you want to get durian, this is the place. Or yeah, you're in town, come stay at my place. So I would highly recommend, if you're a vegan or you're really interested in fruit, to check out 30 bananas a day. Making income while on the road. One option is to be some kind of an online entrepreneur and have blog or YouTube or e-products or do affiliate products where you're able to make some passive income. And this isn't for everybody, and it's something that I would definitely recommend getting started before you make your way on your travels, because it's kind of hard to put things together once you're on the road. ELANCE is a website that appeals to those with internet or tech skills, and they have a slew of job postings that you can access, and they do all the exchanges online, so all you need is a Wi-Fi signal. If you have any back pocket skills like busking or cooking, you can make some cash with this. Teaching English is something that really works for a lot of people because often the housing, the money, and the visa is provided for you. Depending on where you go, there's opportunities for foreigners to make money. Sometimes this is in labor jobs like fruit picking, for example, and sometimes if you have a specific skill or trade, work visas will be provided for you. Alternative options. One thing that might work for you is looking into the friends and family that you have abroad, because guaranteed you know somebody around the world, and it might work out that you can stay at their place. Of course, I wouldn't recommend going and just crashing, but going and helping out around the house, doing things to contribute, like taking out the trash or working on their land or doing the dishes, things of this nature, helping take care of their kids, and maybe take your own space and camp in their yard. If you find a place to rent while you're abroad, you can find ways to cut down on this rent by doing some work exchange. I stayed in a place and I said, okay, I'll pay this rent and maybe we can take so many dollars off if I agree to clean the house every week. And it was shared accommodation, so that worked out really well. Go to festivals. This is a fantastic way to meet people because everybody's coming from all over the globe, and you're able to connect and really make a friendship, heart connection, and then find new people to visit when you're going abroad and new people to host when they're in your area. Camping. Invest in a small light tent and you always have a home where living in your car. This is a really fantastic option for a lot of people. I know that it's something that I did for several months at a time, and it's just a great way to save money. It's super popular actually in New Zealand for people to travel there, to buy a van, live in it for several months, and then sell it when they're leaving. So look into that if you're into that kind of lifestyle. Traveling within the country. Talk to locals. Talk to locals or expats, people who've lived there for a long period of time, to find out how they get around, because guaranteed they're not taking tourist shuttles. They're gonna be taking chicken buses or the local public transit that you probably don't know about, and it's gonna be a lot cheaper. Travel on land versus air whenever possible, because chances are this is gonna be cheaper. And if you can do things like overnight trains or buses, I did this a lot in Asia, it's super awesome because you are covering an extra night of lodging. Share rides if you can, in terms of carpools and taxis. Hitchhike if it's popular to do so in the area. Of course you want to be at a spot that has high traffic, so an intersection or something like this, and a spot that the cars can pull over easily to pick you up. Always smile. It's safer to do in pairs, of course. Sometimes it's helpful to have a sign, and it's definitely helpful to kind of pull yourself together, tidy your bags so it doesn't look like you're going to be a huge inconvenience to get in their car. And just be really gracious and return the favor next time you have a car. Extra tips. Travel to destinations that have a low cost of living. For example, places like Southeast Asia, India, South America. Know the language, or at least make an effort. This is just going to make your time in a new place a little bit more enjoyable, because you're showing respect for the culture and the people are just going to treat you a lot better in return. Go to where you can grow or forage your own food. The tropics or Mediterranean climates are going to allow for this. Bargain. Always ask for a deal. The worst that they can say is no. Free fun. Research in the area what is free. For example, there's a museum in my neighborhood that I know is free after 4 p.m. on Fridays. Use communication that requires Wi-Fi, not a phone, because that's going to save you a phone bill. And especially when you're calling long distance to family and friends, this would add up quick. So there's things, of course, FaceTime, Skype, apps like WhatsApp and Magic Jack and Text Plus. There's just regular emailing, Facebook messaging, and of course Gmail phone. If you do require a phone, unlock your phone once you get to the area and just get a local SIM card. Travel with a buddy. This can be a lot of fun, and it can save you half the cost of accommodations like renting a place, for example, or taxi rides, and it can be a lot safer as well. Those are all the tips that come to mind. I hope that that was helpful in some way. If you want to keep up with me on Instagram or Facebook and follow where my travels take me and see where I have been, please do so. And I also have links to my website. There I have tools and books to help people get healthier, really include more fruits and vegetables in their diet. I have been eating raw vegan for 5-6 years now, and I talk about that there. So if you're interested, please check that out. And I'm just going to leave you with a quote by Ellen Goodman, and I find it really inspiring because it helps us reflect on what normal is. P.S. Here's all my stuff and things. I'll leave you.